Hi, everybody, and welcome to This Dream Is Yours. I'm excited to have my friend, Brandon, on the show today. And Brandon is the architect of the coolest life. You have designed the coolest life for yourself. And I'm excited to hear how you did that, because I think that'll be really important to everybody who's watching today.
Absolutely.
And I'm just thrilled that you're here. So first, tell me a little bit about you, because the guests don't know you like I do.
Yeah. So 39 years old, live in Auburn, California. I have 3 boys, 13, 10, and 3.
And let me just say they're freaking adorable. The cutest kids on the planet.
I'm a little biased.
And a hot wife. So yes.
The wife is certainly hot. That's for sure. But then I have a wife, Rachel, same age. So we live in Auburn. We've lived in Auburn for, the Lake Ridge house.
Yeah, long
Probably
time.
like 10 years now. 10,
Where did you guys
12
move
years.
from?
Lincoln. So we lived in Lincoln. That was where we bought our first house back in 2008, I think.
So you guys are born and bred in California, both of you?
Yeah, Rachel's from Folsom,
Okay.
and I'm from Roseville.
I
So,
don't think I knew that.
yep. So, I lived in like Antelope and different parts of Sacramento as a kid, but my adulthood has been pretty much in school and at Roseville High School.
Okay.
And then my adulthood was like Lincoln, Auburn, the Lake Ridge house, and
Got it.
now out there in Off-Wise.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, went to Sac State. Was there for 3 years.
Was that-
Sierra College first, then Sac State, and then I started my business during Sac State, and then it started kind of taking off. And I actually didn't finish my last year.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
That obviously hasn't stopped you.
No, for sure.
Not that I'm recommending that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
I've
So-
I've said I was going to go back and do it one day, and all this stuff that people say, but I
Not everybody's
just
cut out for
chasing
that.
chasing the kids around. So.
So when you were in college and you came up with this business, what kind of business was it? And was it a dream for you to have a business when you were in college? I mean, how did this even come about?
Yeah, I like it. So when I was a kid, didn't have a lot of money, kind of really, really humble beginnings, as you know. And I remember once a summer, I'd get flown out to Portland, Oregon and Coos Bay, Oregon to visit my grandparents. And I'd get like chaperone on a flight. I'd go stay with my grandparents for the summer for about 5 years. And I just used to see like people like dressed in suits, and I was like always this curious kid. And then I'd be like, that's kind of cool. These people are like on a suit, like flying around. And
Which is hilarious because I have never seen you in a suit.
and I don't like suits.
I have never seen you in a suit.
There was a small stint where I wore a suit, but certainly not anymore. And I just always thought it was so intriguing, like how people kind of were, business. And I didn't really know what that meant, but I always kind of dreamed, even as a kid, I would like piece out bike parts and sell it. And I was always trying to like make money. I think it was because we didn't have money. And so I'm like, if I wanted to go get a bike, I'd have to like find a way to get some cash.
Got it.
So I was always kind of resourceful and entrepreneurial, even though I didn't even know that was a word or a term or even a way of life. So as a kid, I just aspired to like do stuff, and I didn't know what that meant. I just knew that one day I was going to do stuff, and I just kind of had that self-belief. We didn't come from a lot of money, but my parents showered me with love and confidence.
So self-belief is a big thing. How would you, just a lot of people don't have that.
Yes.
So how are you instilling that in your children?
Yeah. So with my kids, that's one of the biggest things, obviously parenting is like this whole, we're all kind of doing our best to do, there's no right or wrong answer. Every kid and every human being's different. Every parent's different. So, we have our strengths, we have our weaknesses, of course, but I just try to make sure that my kids, one, have confidence and love themselves and want to take care of themselves. And two, that they're not lazy. That's like a big one in our house. Like,
So what does that mean to you when you say not lazy? Do they have chores? Are they?
they certainly like have to help out,
Okay.
We can't just, be at home and reap the
Expect.
benefits of mom cooking bomb meals and taking care of us, and then us doing a lot of really cool stuff, because we do a lot of really fun, cool stuff. So certainly they have to pay their price of admission. But I'm not like hardcore where it's like, oh, you have to go out there and, rake the barn.
No, but it makes
every
them
day.
feel like they're participating.
100%.
And I think that's a key.
They have to understand that like, this is not, a free world. You have to make your own way in this world. You got to do stuff you don't like to do. Like that's, So we're out there in the, lifts, vacuuming out spiders in the shop. Like we're cleaning stuff, we're doing stuff, and I make them a part of that.
That's cool.
And it's cool because we get to hang out, turn on the tunes and chill, and then get some work done. They get to learn how to use a little lift, a scissor lift. They think it's fun, of course, So I think there can be more than the mundane of just doing chores if you can kind of do stuff.
Including them in your...
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it's kind of an important thing for me, but definitely self-confidence and having the drive to be able to try to create your way in this world, because the reality is that people are not here just to hand you stuff in this life. Like,
so you said something that I think is important about self-confidence, but here's one of the things about self-confidence where I had an issue with the way sports were, and you have boys in sports.
Yep.
Not everybody deserves a participation trophy.
No way.
And I don't know how you feel about that, but I think when you give everyone a trophy, it takes away from the people who are really working hard and trying hard.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know, having confidence, you want to have confidence, but you don't want to blow smoke at your kid either,
Absolutely,
right? There's a fine line between building them up and then like overcompensating and saying stuff that's not true.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where like the keyword work comes in, right? Like, for my kids in sports, it's like, we don't say, hey, you had a great game because, or you had a great season because you're talented. Like, yeah, there's some talent there, but you worked hard. Like, and that's the outcome is correlated to the work that you put.
That's awesome. So that's a great lesson.
So like we really try to focus on that. Like God gives you, certain strengths and weaknesses as a human. We all have them. But at the end of the day, like what defines you is the work that you put in, and that's what's going to determine your outcomes.
So when you were in college, you started a business.
Yep.
What kind of business?
So, well, I was going to Sac State for engineering, construction management, and business, like a double major. I was doing an internship with a Perini building company, which is a publicly traded firm. And I was flying out to Vegas, and I was working on the city center project, which is I was a field engineer, and it was like the largest privately funded project in U.S. history at the time.
Oh my goodness!
The Perini, it's like the MGM owns that whole realm. So it was a big project, and during that time, I had gotten recruited to go to do that job while I was going to college, and so I wanted to do it. I wanted to make the money. I was always kind of interested in trying to, find a way to make some cash in this world to create freedom. So I went to the dean of my department, said, hey, I got this job opportunity. I'm going to make like real money. But at the time when I was in college, I think it was like $70,000, $80,000 a year. So I was like, this is like incredible. And I said, but I don't want to like quit the school thing. So, but I'm doing these estimates on these projects. I'm managing these construction projects as a field engineer. That is basically the same as what you learn in class when you're in the upper division for...
But doing hands-on.
But it was a real project. Instead of doing a takeoff on a fake project, you're working on a real one, right?
Right.
So I was able to essentially create this setup to where I was getting, as long as I showed up and I took the test and I passed, I was getting credit for like classwork and class participation.
And you negotiated that, of course.
Of course, yeah. So, Keith Bisharat at the time was the dean of that department. He made an exception for me, and we did it. I did that for about a year, and I was just so intrigued that opportunity was created for me through a recruiter. And I was like, "What's this recruiter? This guy's calling me. He's in Hawaii on vacation. He's connecting me with this company for this opportunity." And I'm like, "Okay, so how does everyone get paid?" I was a curious kid. I'm like, "How's this guy getting paid?" Like, "Oh yeah, well they pay a portion of your first year's salary." Doesn't come away from you. They just pay the fee, and I make the money if you accept the job. And I'm like, man, why am I not doing that? Like, this guy's in Hawaii. He just is connecting the dots. Me doing it.
So at that moment, you're thinking again about how can I have a free life and do what I want to do?
That was when it was like, aha, interesting. So on my lunch breaks, I would, at the MGM, that was where our job site trailer was at for the city center project. I would go on my truck in the parking garage at MGM, and I would cold call companies, and I would say, this is Envision Recruiting. I created this kind of name.
You just pulled it out.
I just said it was a name I wanted to create.
Okay.
I just came with a name, and I was cold calling companies and saying like, hey, I do like recruiting services and for architecture, engineering. And I had a company say, oh yeah, send me a contract. And I was like, oh shoot, I actually have to like create a contract.
That's awesome.
So then I went on LegalZoom.com. I started an LLC, and then I had Rachel, who I was dating at the time. We weren't married. I had her go open a PO box in Lincoln because I was dating her, but I would fly out to the projects out in Vegas. So I lived there. I was roommates with 2 Mormon kids that were fun. Like the designated drivers would get hyped up on Red Bulls. I'd go to the bar and have a few drinks. It's a really interesting, fun time of my life for sure. But I'd go do that. Then I would come home like every 2 weeks is what I had kind of negotiated, because I'd come back, take some tests at Sac State. So I was dating Rachel at the time, and I had her open a PO box. So then I could get a check sent to it, because I needed to get a check sent because these people said yes to this contract.
That you didn't have yet?
That I didn't have yet. So I created it, and then they signed it. I'm like, oh, I actually got to go like recruit for these people. But I told the guy that like, if you give me a shot, I'll like make it right. You know, if you don't like it, I'll send you the money back. Like, just give me a shot. And he's like, hey, you sound believable. Like, I'm going to give you a shot. We need architects in the Northeast, and help me find them. And so I was like, okay. So did that. I was kind of doing that on the side, and I realized like, man, I'd like to do this full time, but like, you know, I hadn't make any real money to like walk away from this opportunity. Plus I'm juggling school, all this other stuff. I, of course, get myself in all these things. So then,
but you've always, I'm just going to interject. I mean, to this day,
yeah,
you're in a million things.
Yeah,
you don't focus on.
Try to pull it down now, but yeah, for sure.
But you'll sponsor people to help them do their thing.
That's right.
You put things.
Well, yeah.
Out
Now I try to manifest just helping other people to get to their points where they.
So I'm going to interject. So it's changed for you from I want to make some money.
Yep.
This is cool. It's interesting.
Yep.
I want to create money. To now, it's not about just the money.
Yep. No, not anymore. But going back real quick on the whole journey when I started my company is I ended up having a success. I got my first like real check. I think it was, I don't know, $20,000 or something at the time. I think it was nice. Like, gave me the confidence to be like, I'm gonna do this full time. So I did that, and then 3 years later, long story short, I was like the 31st fastest growing company in Sacramento, and things were rolling. That's when I kind of was just all in on it, and I was a recruiting company. But what I realized was recruiting is kind of interesting because they want to use you because they have to find good people, but it costs a lot of money if you're paying $20,000 each time you hire a candidate from this recruiter, right? So they loved me, but they
hated you.
But they're like, gosh, it's kind of expensive. Yeah. So I'm like, there's got to be a better way to like connect people with these companies with opportunities or with people to hire, but at the same time be able to be it cost efficient and not crush their bottom line. So I came up with a talent sourcing technology, and that's when that whole AECIQ was born. And that's what really has taken off over the last 14 years is my talent sourcing technology, which was created. So originally it was a recruiting company. Now we're just a technology
company.
Yeah, for architecture, engineering, construction industry. We have over 700 customers we worked with across the U.S. and globally. We've been around for 14 years, and we arguably own the most data in that industry. So it's pretty
crazy,
pretty wild. Yeah, pretty wild how.
But it sounds branched off of you seeing a problem.
Yep.
First of all, you saw it as a money opportunity.
Yep. Hey,
this guy's making that. Who's calling me?
Yep.
You're making what? How? Are you
exactly.
And then you thought, okay, I can make that money. So then you took that and did it. But then you saw a bigger problem for the companies that you're helping, and you came from an authentic place of solving their problem.
Right. And technology wasn't where it's at now, right? Like, so a lot of these like architecture engineering firms are like, that was before LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like I was one of the first people like on LinkedIn. So, it just is interesting how it's transpired. And I'm not a tech person. I mean, I'm a tech CEO now, but I didn't go to school for, tech, so now I built a tech company. But
so what are some of the other companies that you've kind of dabbled in? Because I know one of my favorite spots is Vibe. So, and the people who are filming today, they love the avocado toast. So
let's go. I love it. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. The avocado toast is bomb. For sure. Vibe was a passion project. Once I kind of got to a place where I had some financial and time freedom, Rachel and I were in Hawaii, And we always want to do something. Rachel is so incredible with her ability in the kitchen and cooking, and she's so passionate about it. She's an artist by nature. She's an interior design major, but just uses her artistic sort of mind with food and eating healthy. And so I always say, like, gosh, we got to do something one of these times, you know? And once that time opened up and we kind of had that epiphany, it was like, oh, it's time to do it. Let's do something fun. So we did something fun in Sacramento with Vibe. That was really what it was about, to like allow Rach to like have some of her creative, you know, free
juice is flowing.
Yeah. She's sort of taking a back seat for a bit for me. And when I was building my company, so I was like, let's do it, you know? And we got together with some friends, my buddy Uriah Faber, kind of a known guy in Sacramento, a great friend of mine, Matt Barnes, who's from Sacramento, played in the NBA for several years and has a successful podcast company. He's done that after his career. Just said, let's bring a bunch of people together in Sacramento. This is fun. I mean, we don't need to make a living out of it necessarily, but let's do something fun. And it's been around for, gosh, like 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we partnered with Liquidology, which at the time was providing juices in AECIQ. And people love Liquidology, right? And Jeff and Jules and them over there were so awesome. And I saw a great operator in Jeff. So we brought them into the fold, I think a year into the Vibe journey. And still to this day, Jeff runs the entire company. We have 3 locations, 2 in Sac, well, 1 in AECIQ, 1 in Oak Park, on a little small development I did. And then we have 1 in Folsom.
So now you've accomplished a lot, obviously, for a very young age. What's your big hairy dream that you've got out there that's maybe it's just so huge or so massive? Do you have one out there right now?
Right now I'm in this space, in this chapter of life where I'm just all about my kids and my family and trying to do my best that I can do to spend time with them, to be present, to do cool stuff. I always look at it like, especially with Dallin, he's 13 now. It's like, I got like 6 more summers with them or 5 more summers with them. So it's like, got 5 years to get them ready to rock to go into this world.
One of those things, let me just say, most people don't have that reflection. They don't stop and say, this is the window.
Yeah.
So I'm going to design or be the architect of this life that allows me to say, I'm free.
Yep.
To do what I want with my kids, because I've created this financial freedom.
Totally. Yep.
Through businesses by solving problems.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that I can live this life. So I guess I always see, like, I don't see the work behind the lifestyle that you have. Right.
Yeah.
I see, you're on the football field with your buddies. I see you hunting and fishing. I see you on family trips.
Yeah.
I see you popping off a jet and doing this. I see, I see that lifestyle. I'm like, I just want to be Brandon when I grow up.
Stop. Oh man, no. I honestly, you live once.
You do, but it's a lesson that has taken me a really long time to learn about being present.
Yeah.
And I think my biggest takeaway from you as a person is that you're super present.
I appreciate that. I try. I mean, sometimes I'm not great. I'm a human. I get distracted by certain things, and obviously I have that grinder sort of mentality. It's innate in me. Like, it's like the fight or flight. Like, since I was a kid, I was like always trying to find my way in this world. And so it's been fun over the last 5 years, I'd say, because I've really had to unwind some of that. Like
what started,
because I have opportunities to do more stuff, right? And it's I've gotten to a point where most opportunities I have are great. There's not so it went from a mindset of like, oh, you're trying to latch on and do great things and connect with great opportunities and create cool stuff. Like, I'm in this season now where it's like, I could go do a lot more of it. And it's not to say that those opportunities aren't going to make oodles of money or whatever, but you have to be like, I don't know if I want to spend that.
Sometimes no is a huge, it's a
hard.
huge freedom word.
Extremely hard to do, but you have to just go back to your core of like, what really moves you. And I try to meditate. I try to do things to get to my core of what really counts and what I really like. You can only have so much money. Like, my life by design is pretty consistent year to year. I take about 5-6 trips with my buddies a year, hunting and fishing and doing certain stuff. I chase my kids around playing baseball. These X months, you got the holidays, and then we got duck hunting season, which my boys and I are like
all over
psycho duck hunters. So, like my year's planned out. So like you can only have so much money. And like, I'm not big in like buying like a bunch of like toys and stuff for the most part. I've had the same truck 5 different times, same color, same make and model every 4 years. You can count it in. Like, so like I don't get driven by money now. Like it's a different weighted calculation where you spend your time.
What kind of dreams do you have with Rach? Do you have any shared dreams with Rach?
You know what? I think same. I think we're locked in on the kids right now. I think eventually, like, yeah, we'll probably have another home near a beach at some point. She's a beach girl. She loves the beach. I'm like more extreme in the mountains, like far away from people and things and everything else. So I think like those are probably more of the dreams, is just like, at some point once the kids are rolling, off to college or something like that, is like spending time in some kind of select places. Like, but besides that, we're here for a good time. We're not here for a long time. So we try to just live it up.
What are some of your important lessons like you want to impart on your sons besides what you just said?
Yeah. I think, it's really just finding your way, and there's like, it's a complex conversation. You want to provide as much as you can for your kids. Even financially, I mean, who wouldn't want to try to take care of their kids? But sometimes you can't just do that,
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that, but it's scary, right? Like if you have the means to try to help your kids long-term, you want to do it, this.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you're like, you don't want to give them too much, and you don't want to pave the way too much, because you still have to find your way in life. And I'm not even saying just from like a success standpoint or financially. I'm talking about like more of like self-fulfillment and feeling confident in yourself,
and your passion
and like, I feel like people, if they're complacent and they don't have to try to find their own way, it could be tough to try to,
a lot of times people that I respect greatly that have created all these successes in their life, I'm finding that there's a common denominator. A lot of them came from a childhood where there was struggle, where there was financial struggle.
Yeah.
You had love, but you had the financial struggle.
For sure.
Sometimes and it makes me think about what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't come from a family where I had financial struggle.
Yeah.
There are other things going on, but there wasn't the financial struggle. But and so I think sometimes that financial struggle creates a grit,
right,
that is hard to manifest when things are just kind of given to you.
Yep.
And so you almost have to train yourself to be gritty.
Yeah, exactly. So like, we use sports as a way of like grinding. My kids love sports.
Work ethic.
They love baseball. They want to continue to be great at it. That's what they choose is baseball. I don't care if it's playing the violin or whatever you want to do, whatever tickles your fancy, but just do it and do it great and try your hardest and want to be good at something, So we use sports right now as like a way to grind. And the way I look at it is, even if they don't, turn out to wanting to play college sports or, get to the pros or whatever, like, at the end of the day, like, training shows you grit, work ethic, consistency, discipline, and honestly, just understanding that there's a correlation to work and outcomes. And I'm like, worst case is they learn how to work out a ton and know that it's important to take care of your body, which you need to do long-term anyways. So I think it's a win-win. So we use that as our sort of like, grind, if you will.
Your value proposition.
Yeah. So we're focused on trying to do something, and stay locked in on something for sure.
Well, you are just an amazing person and you inspire me. And my takeaway from today is do the work.
Yeah.
Whenever, as a self-employed person,
right,
a lot of times when things are not going the way I want them to go, if I go back and look at it, it's because I've skipped the basics of staying in relationship and staying in contact. And it's a contact sport, what I do.
Yeah.
And I just will be tired or emotionally drained, and I won't do that. And it shows up
Right.
here.
Right.
So my last question for you is this.
Whatever.
It feels like some people will say there is never a balanced life.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a balanced life. You're always counterbalancing.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, if there's one person out there, it feels like you have a pretty balanced life. And I think that is 100% by choice and by design. Is there something else that you use to keep your life balanced? Is there some mantra that you have in your head, or you said you meditate?
Yeah, I try to just take care of myself, and I try to always go back to this equilibrium of what really matters to you, and trying to, you point the balance out. And like some people might focus on a bank account or some other form of validation to how they're living their life. And I go back to like the balance bank, and it's like the give and the take of what you're going to spend your time on versus not. And obviously, like, I'm a human. Like, I appreciate that you acknowledge that, and it means a lot, but I'm not perfect by any means. I have a balanced life by design. I try to keep it that way. I slip up sometimes, but I always try to get back to that balance bank and be like, okay, let's reel it in.
Rach might say that's enough duck for now.
Yeah, she doesn't really, she picks and chooses certain ones, and that's not one of them.
That's not one of them. Okay.
I've reeled in Dallin and Reed, and they're duck hunting pools, so
okay.
I think it's 3-1 on that one. So, but certainly, yeah, like Rachel's like obviously my voice of reasoning. She's like a sweetie and is always there for me. And
how long have you guys been married now?
We're going on 15 years this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So well,
congratulations, because that in itself takes effort and concentration.
Communication, baby.
Communication.
Numero uno. You got to do it.
Well, thanks so much for being here. I totally appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah. I love you, and I appreciate coming on.
You too. All right.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.